Welcome to the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, where there's always another secret.
Welcome back, Sixers, to another episode of the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. Today is episode 150. It is December 4th, 2023. I'm Bill, and I'm joined, as always, by my sesquicentepisodic co-hosts, Amy and Jordan. Welcome.
That's a big word.
It is.
It's our sesquicentepisode.
I'm going to let you say that, but yes, good job.
It means 150th.
Yep.
Oh, I know. I just know that my tongue wouldn't handle it well.
Oh, gosh. 150. Wow. That's a...
Timed well.
That is not a...
It's a big number.
Well, especially because we're having an exciting conversation. Before we get started, though, we want to remind you that the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is not a spoiler-free podcast. That means if there's something in the Cosmere that you haven't read and you're worried about hearing spoilers, you might want to go read those first, then come back and join the discussion. Tonight, we're not talking about any specific book, but we are talking about Dragonsteel 2023. Oh, gosh, this was a heck of a Dragonsteel this year.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who listen to the podcast recordings or watch the videos on YouTube, we do want to remind you that it's possible for our listeners to interact with us live via chat as we record each episode at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. We record episodes every other Monday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, so please join us and take an active part of the discussion. The show is made possible by the support of our listeners and patrons. The show will, of course, continue to be free, but if you want to help out, you can head over to patreon.com/Cosmere Studies. Even pledging $1 or $2 per episode really helps us out as we work to improve the show. Patrons get immediate access to our Discord channel where you can talk about the show and the Cosmere with other listeners. We've got a great community over there. We've got some cool discussions going on. You get early access to bonus episodes, exclusive access to other bonus content, and other good stuff. This week, we want to specifically thank our new patrons, Michael and Sean G. Thank you so much. Y'all are absolutely amazing.
Indeed, they are.
Yeah. All right. So before we dive into the actual episode, first, we probably want to clear something up because if you were listening, probably the most recent episode you heard is episode 148. And this is episode 150. Jordan, would you care to explain what's been going on?
Treachery and gremlins. So we recorded what I feel was an excellent live recording at Dragonsteel. Had a lot of fun. Several people who were in the chat were there, can confirm for us that it was a grand old time. Even if you don't agree, please confirm it was a grand old time. But no, we had a great time. And the recording went well. And then I turned off my computer at the end of the night. It was great. And
it never woke up again.
Yeah. Yet. Well, so right now it is it's taken apart like RoboCop at the beginning of RoboCop, and it's concerning. Apparently my CMOS battery died in the 2 days between when we recorded it and when we got home. So had it failed 2 days before, we'd have been fine. I would have brought my other laptop. Had it done it 2 days later, it would have been fine because the episode would be up. But no, it did it the day between when we recorded it. So it is now trapped on a hard drive. I went over to Amy's house and had her husband take a look, and we tried to...
He poked it good.
Yeah, we tried to see if we could just rip it straight from the hard drive, but no, it's encrypted in such a way that we can't access it unless it's on the hard drive. And I just want everyone to know it's this little tiny piece that cost me $8.95 online to get plus shipping that is causing all this problems. And I want everyone to know it's terrible. Wait, Michael, you have a backup? Okay, I need text me specifics.
Contact Jordan. He wants. He has questions.
So my plan was we will release 149 next week.
Okay.
Just on Wednesday. So you guys, you got robbed last month, but hey, bonus episode this month.
So, minor spoiler though, because what happened is we did a draft of characters from the Cosmere, and then we let the audience vote. I got utterly smoked, so I now need the listeners to come and redeem me, because I need you to come in and vote. Help me out here, please.
What you're now hearing is the Billabuster.
Wow. You're in trouble.
No, I'm not.
No, but honestly, I was so flustered because we didn't have the visual,
yeah.
the AV setup that I thought we were going to have, and so it just threw everything off. It was great. Next year,
Oh wait, can I blame that instead?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, excellent.
Also, just so y'all know, for next year, I actually have bought. I've got a central mic, and then I've got several lavalier mics that we're going to be able to set up to record.
I have a clip-on mic. I could have brought that. Sorry.
I'm going to have all of them set up so that they can go into a mixing board that I'll have next year. So that'll actually sound good. Hopefully, we'll see. Hey. Which also means we don't necessarily have to have the laptop directly at us. We can actually have the camera pointing towards us from a different location. It'll be great. Nice. So all sorts of nice new toys. How's today been?
Cold. Busy.
It has been cold.
But good.
Very busy, but I'm excited for
today has been delicious.
I get to fangirl tonight.
Today has been delicious because I smoked a turkey. And oh my gosh.
And the best part, I wasn't the turkey.
Jordan, would you back me up on that? That it was absolutely delicious?
Yes, I can. A voodoo sauce or mix, whatever it's called, is really good.
Holy voodoo. It's
Holy voodoo.
Meat Church seasoning. But that's
I would
actually
like to join the Meat Church if I could.
Most of the flavor doesn't come from that. Most of the flavor came from the brine and the injection, because I injected it with lemon pepper garlic butter and chicken broth. So it was good. So I'm very pleased.
We had paninis here. We were busy.
Nice.
My kids always have a Monday night or Monday afternoon activity, so it's like, what is the easy dinner? That is Monday night, right there.
Y'all have had that panini press for a while.
This is actually a new one, and this one is not as good.
Oh, I loved the old one.
Mm-hmm. It worked great.
That's right. We've eaten paninis with Amy.
Yes, a lot of them.
You see, now we famous. It's paninis with Amy. That sounds like a talk show. I would listen to that talk show.
I guess I could do that as a live on TikTok. Is Paninis with Amy? Why not?
Welcome to Paninis with Amy.
That's the live, because we can do lives now.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to look into that, and then laptop stuff happened.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I still haven't done any lives on TikTok. I need to do that.
Good times. Well, Amy, I think that speaking of TikTok, I think that you were part of a fun one that happened at Dragonsteel.
Yes. So we've had Steve on, Raffo, Read and Find Out, the Cosmere Knot, on our channel several times, and he was the booth next to us, and I made a list of all these different sounds.
He was TikTok a delightful neighbor.
He was a very good neighbor. There's a sound that's kind of like, it's you and me and you and me and your friend Steve, da 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 da, and your friend Steve. And so like, it's supposed to be like there's always something obnoxious going on. And I asked Steve, I was like, hey, would you be fine doing this video? Are you familiar with the sound? And he's like, yeah, sure, it'd be great. And the video is delightful and
it's
cute.
It's wonderful.
And I'm gonna put the link in the YouTube chat, and otherwise just go to
We'll put it in the show notes as well.
We'll put it in the show notes too. But it's going to be, we can't play it on this because we don't want to have sound issues or whatever else. But it's really short and it's super fun, and his energy it's perfect.
Yeah. The song is Your Friend Steve by Garfunkel and Oates.
But it's just the clean section, because apparently there is some not so clean.
Oh, there's some language in it, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Let me copy and paste that.
Cool. So yeah, definitely check that out. All right, so let's move into our announcement. So we've already mentioned the episode 149 is still coming. It's just going to be a little bit out of order. It is 149. this is 150, and we're going to post them in that order.
And if Jordan can't fix it, it might be a really bad iPod version that we have as a backup.
Nice.
Yep. But we'll take what we can get.
But
beggars can't be choosers.
But Jordan, how is our push to 3,000 hours?
Yes. So we had a big week last week in terms of followers increase. I want to first cover that. We gained 63 followers over
Those
all
2 days.
Well, a little less than that, but since that started, we're up 63,
Nice.
which is like a full 8% growth over a 2-week period, which is bananas. And
our Instagram, I did not see how many we had before Dragonsteel, but we are at 1,229
nice
on Instagram.
Well, to all you
Still
Instagram
growing.
followers, please come to YouTube. We need you. Because we're trying to get to 3,000. We are now at 2,643 hours total, which puts us at Bing 88.1%. So we're knocking on the door 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like if we were a DeLorean, we'd go back in time.
Darn straight. But I would like us not to do that because we had less followers then.
But we're going back to Dragonsteel tonight. That's our back in time. This is our rewind, as you so happily titled it.
That was a excellent reference to take us forward, Bill. I just want to say, good work.
Nice. All right. Well, in that case, let's move on to the
Cosmere Thing of the Week.
So this Cosmere Thing of the Week, I unfortunately don't know who to credit for this because this is just some person I came across at Dragonsteel. She did, in my opinion, what is one of the most clever costumes I have ever seen. Jordan, have you got it pulled up?
It is up.
So for those of you who only listen, let me explain. She dressed as the Year of Sanderson boxes. Like when you get the box in the mail, it's black. It has the Dragonsteel logo on it and it has those little curly Q twirly lattice work things on the sides and
Mine's way over there.
quotes and all that stuff. And she is wearing all black. She's got leggings and sleeves that match the same pattern. She's got the mailing label on her. It was wonderful. I saw her in the line to the store, which we'll talk about the line to the store a little bit later on, I think, because there's a lot I got to say about the line to the store. But it's one of the most clever cosplays I've seen. So I was thrilled to see that because it took a second. I was just like, okay, she's in black. I was like, that pattern looks familiar. Oh my gosh, I know what you are.
Yes.
And she was thrilled to be recognized. She said this was the best part of our year. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There are some pretty creative cosplays.
I wish I knew what her name was to credit her, but if
Dragonsteel Box Girl.
Yeah. Dragonsteel Box Girl,
Reach out
you are
to us.
amazing.
Yes.
Reach out to us and let us know who you are so we can give you proper credit.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the cool things about Dragonsteel is there's a lot of the standard cosplays that you see, and then there are people who will do the one step beyond, a little bit into the ridiculous and a little bit into the I never thought of that. So, but yeah, it was great. All right. So normally we would do Sanderson news now, but basically everything that we would talk about in Sanderson news, we'll talk about later on in this episode because so much was announced at Dragonsteel. Brandon's closing remarks. If you haven't watched the video, go watch the video. We'll sort of do a summary, but there's so much to see. It was amazing. So let's move into the main discussion. Let's just sort of get a general impression. What stood out to you? What's the first thing that you just want to talk about?
Everybody's so nice.
So nice.
So nice.
It was awesome to see some of you. Finally got to meet Texas Blade for the first time.
Yes.
He helped me load my car. He's really nice.
No, it was great just seeing. There were a bunch of people who came by. We saw Roger again, who was just good, solid guy. He's
all 3 years.
He's been there all 3 years. He was the very first person that we ever met who was a listener, which just there's something great about that.
Yeah.
We
And
met Michael again that we met too. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm cheating because I've known Michael since I was a kid. So
Oh.
cheating there, but Michael's also the one who if we need it, we have a backup. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
that's what's called reliable.
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously we saw Steve.
We did see Steve. I am so glad that we got to be in the booth next to Steve. There was just something fun about that.
We got to
Yeah, I made a little little book for myself. What would you call that? Like a little flip book portfolio. I made myself a little portfolio, and in one of the pictures, I had like a good picture of my Marcy costume was with Steve right next to me, and so I'd be like, I'd show people the thing, and I'm like, oh, and that's Steve, and I'd point at Steve, and I'm like, there's Steve right there, and he's always like, hi, I'm Steve, and then he'd go back to doing his sales, and it was just really cute that he'd always just like instantly do that. It was hilarious.
Well, and then our friend Allison Johnston, who does some amazing artwork. She had her own booth for the first time. Go check her out. If you like dragons, I think you'll like her artwork.
Charlie Holmberg, who's been on the podcast a couple times, also had a booth there.
Dan Wells was there too. How weird.
Well, Dan Wells obviously was there. But Charlie was there. She was hawking her wares. She had a couple of shirts. She had one that just said "Not Brandon Sanderson" that was amazing, and I had to buy it. So I was happy to get that one.
So you have your cosplay for next year is your Not Brandon Sanderson shirt.
All you need
spoilers.
What? That's all right. What? I mean, shh, no one knows.
Redacted.
Oh, Amy. But it was just fun. Good crowd. Like it was such a positive audience. We each got to meet some great people. Let's just sort of dive in. Let's talk about our panels.
Okay.
Because that I think was that was my first level of anxiety, because it's just like, okay, am I going to do all right? What's going on here? Are we, but I loved everybody that I was on a panel with. Cause like I was on with, Joff Wu from,
Josh
from
really
the
nice.
17th Shard. He's on all of the
super tall. Oh my goodness. Like I met him in the 17 Shard.
No, the subreddits. He's a
he's the
there.
Reddit guy.
Solid guy, knows his stuff. Steve was on there with me, and then Jen, who works for Dragonsteel, was there, and she's also I can't remember if she's an alpha reader or a beta reader, but it was a good crew, and so we were talking about a speculative timeline we were trying to place, where particularly the secret projects came.
Figure out where all the jigsaw pieces fit.
Amy, who was on with you?
Should we do Jordan's since I had a bunch of panels?
Sure.
That's it. So I did advanced romantic theory. The guy who actually was I was going to say chairman. That's not the word I'm looking for, but the moderator was Travis, who is actually real big in League of Legends esports. Really awesome. We're going to try and get him on in the future, along with the other two. We have Erica, who is part of Dragonsteel. She's one of the beta readers. She helps a lot with the Lightweaver Foundation. And then someone who's actually in our Discord, Slam and Ammon, was on it with us. We had a great time, although the entire time. So there is a guy, and if you were at Dragonsteel, you probably know who it was, who had an amazing Steel Inquisitor cosplay. I don't know what he does, but he's got the spikes through the eyes. You can't tell that it's not, actually through his eyes. And whatever he has at the end of these things must be a really good mesh, because I can't figure out how he sees anything. He sat in the freaking front row, and the entire time I'm trying to do this panel, I keep like looking at him, and I'm like trying not to stare, but it really is unsettling. Brandon's right.
Yeah, he was there last year as well.
And I mean,
awesome
if you make that cosplay, you're gonna wear it every chance you get, because it's incredible and disturbing at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh man! And what did y'all talk about?
Advanced romantic theory. So mostly we focused on the secret projects and their implications for realmatics, and so it was really good. Although I had to scramble to get there because I lost track of time talking to you guys and people at the convention. They're like, Jordan, don't you have a panel?
I remember that. I did.
Not till like 7. And it's like, it's 6:50. Oh no.
Well, I gotta go now. Yeah.
And then I had to run to our next panel because our next panel was us. So
Mhm.
I got some good work out there.
Good cardio.
Indeed.
Amy, how about you?
Okay, so I was an overachiever on Monday, and I really didn't plan it that way. But my official panel was Brandon's Bestiary, and I got to be on it with Jancy Patterson, who's an author, Jackson Dickert, who's an author. He's also part of campfire.com or like a website that does stuff. And then Priscilla Spencer, who is part of Dragonsteel, and I think she helped design the sweaters. I think.
Oh, okay.
The ugly Christmas sweaters?
Yes, the beautiful ugly
Nice.
Christmas sweaters. I'm pretty sure. I think it's her. And we also had I think her name is Megan Lloyd, but she's a producer or something on Lower Decks as well as some other stuff. So she was also on the panel. But yeah, so we were advocating for like all these different categories of animals, like which is the best steed, which is the best companion, which is most dangerous. And then we had I did this 2 weeks ago and now I can't remember. But we also had like which one's the tastiest. And that one got some interesting
Chicken.
things. So yeah. So like we actually had someone picked aviar and then I picked a night maw, which is a giant chicken, because I was like, well, why not settle? Why settle for a small chicken when we can have a big chicken?
Yeah, get
but
the Giga Chicken.
Giga chicken, yeah. But no, Rashadium won for mine for steed. So I was really happy with that.
I was
And
going
then
to say, for tastiest?
No, I mean, yeah, people do.
The
eat horse,
answer
I don't.
is clearly anything on Roshar that's a crab.
Well, Kremlings was, I think, one of the options, as well as Santhid was one of the other tasty things. And that was
That's
kind of
that's
like,
bad luck. What are
intelligent.
you thinking?
well, they were sitting here going, well, it's calamari and squid and all these different kinds of parts you could have. And I'm like, I'm not a seafood person, so it really doesn't appeal to me.
Heretic.
But we had the crowd voted. And then also I was really happy that the crowd went for my companion vote, which was a chasm fiend. Which was kind of our gag,
So you want a
gag
bouncer,
animal.
huh?
So it's like, yeah, I'm like, you don't have to worry about them even being a problem, an obnoxious person being a problem, because it'll just eat them. No one's gonna mess with you.
I'd be more
if you have
worried that it'd
chasm
eat
fiend.
me. Like, I don't think you can trust it.
It's your
Someone
baby.
hasn't paid attention to the end of Rhythm of War. More importantly, I don't understand how that works at the end of Rhythm of War.
Anyway, that was that panel. That was super fun. And then I felt super sad because I didn't take my little name placard with me.
I forgot to do that as well.
Because I was like, okay, I got to do other things, but then I didn't have it at my other panels because I was also on Everything You Know About Dragons at like 5 that day, and that was a bunch of us, a bunch of Cosmere talkers, and Jafu, as well as like Melinda, that Cosmere chick, and Seth, Cosmere for Dummies, and Sir Banana Cucumber on TikTok. And I feel
Clearly
like
the
there's
most
somebody-
respected of them all.
Obviously.
He's a
No,
knight.
he's a really cool guy. But yeah, so we talked about dragons, and it felt like a lot of people were like, what about this? And we're like, we don't have that information. Here's the little snippets we have, and here's what we can piece together.
We have so little.
And then I put forth my pet theory that Honor was a dragon, which was shot down by Brandon later that night. And then there was Lift a Dragon, and that was also shot down. So anyway, and then I got to
Wait,
be
you were
part
the
of-
reason those questions were asked?
No, I don't know.
Because I
It's
went to
very
the
possibly-
Q&A and everyone asked those 2 questions. And I was just
It's
like,
very possible. If I
I'm
did,
over
I'm
here
really
like,
glad I helped
"Who-
inspire
I wonder
that.
who thought that. I definitely didn't think that.
Probably
Here,
the people at the dragon panel. Yeah. And then I got to be part of the Surprise with Intentionally Blank, and I don't know if I should say more about it because it hasn't been
come out
released
yet.
yet. So
Just pay attention.
Just pay attention, and yes, yes. Anyway, it was fun. And then we had our podcast. So that was me all of Monday, just being like frantic everywhere. So yeah, but it was great. And I was designed that day. I don't recommend trying to move fast in a yukata. It's not fun.
Your design was really good. I didn't recognize you at first. And
I
then
know,
at the
I
end of the
totally
But I'm
was,
like, who's
yeah.
this random person talking? Oh, it's Amy.
It's Amy. Hi. Oh, that's
I'm not
Amy's
used to
voice
her
coming
having
out of
white hair.
white hair, yeah. And a pink yukata on. It was great.
You do stand out a bit
man.
on that panel.
I do. just a smidge.
It's
The
true.
bright pink outfit.
Okay. So moving on from our panels, were there any panels that y'all were able to attend? I don't think any of us really got to go. You went to Jordan. You said you went to the
Well,
Q&A.
we all went to like
Second
one
day.
thing.
That's true. 'Cause
Yeah, I went.
I went to the spoiler Q&A, which I couldn't attend the
you did.
whole thing because that's 2 hours long.
right.
And that wouldn't be fair to you guys.
And
But-
the room was utterly packed because I went
Yeah.
to the one right before that.
Oh boy.
Those wondering if it'll be released, I doubt the video of it will be released, but the transcript. Is this transcript not out already? I would.
It's probably on the CW.
Where's it branded? There were some doozies at that
Dragonsteel
thing.
2023.
I need to
Although
read
maybe
through
we
those.
want to save those for next episode, but
Yeah, there's a whole bunch going on.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one.
there
I
were
went
some
to the-
absolute incredible ones.
Oh, people
But
ask
my
such
favorite-
good questions. I
The
never know
one
to
that
ask.
people asked was has Hoyd dated a dragon?
Ooh,
And he said
yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
And
you're
we-
like,
It's like, oh, is that why Slammer's not so fond of
not so
him?
fond. Is it an X
and
issue?
I've told you, no, it means yes is going to turn into a dragon.
No, just no.
Oh man. We all
If
thought
Lift
it was
can't be a
Lift, but it was
dragon, then Yasna
Yasna.
can't be a dragon.
No.
Who are you to tell her what she can't be? She's gonna break the Dragonsteel ceiling.
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Oh, I went
so-
to the Yumi and the Night Painter
The
panel.
book club,
The book club one, yeah.
right?
I thought it was going to be the Hoyd panel, but it ended up being that one, which was still a very good panel. I really liked it. It
Right.
just wasn't what I was expecting. So I was like,
Mhm.
Right, the Hoyd panel got moved.
yeah, they
They
switched
got
them,
switched.
and I walked right past a sign that said it, and I didn't check the updated thing because my printout was from like the week before. But it was still very fun, and I found out that the Heon line colors are related to the Korean or the South Korean flag. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
No,
But they got dressed up in silly outfits for that one. Like if their thing didn't get voted for, their cool quote or scene or whatever, then they had clothing put on them like Hoyd, and it was fun.
Nice. I went to the what's it called? The fan holders meeting,
Oh yeah, you did.
which is where they got all of the basically everybody in the executive suite at Dragonsteel. So you had Kara and Isaac and Emily and basically all of the top people
The high
at
rollers.
Dragonsteel were sort of there, kind of giving a report on how the year has gone for their departments. They were talking about, oh, we added a bunch of people here. They had a Q&A where people were just asking about different things, like how merch would go, what they're thinking of for future Dragonsteel things. And of course, they didn't give a whole lot away at this meeting just because that's not what the meeting was for. But it's just really cool to see the inner workings of Dragonsteel and see how they interact with each other. Talking about how, most of them started off where their department was just them. And then they got people to come and help them. Kara, of course, has the biggest because she basically runs the warehouse and the merch. And so
Yeah.
all of the little underlings there are her personal
Mhm.
minions. But yeah, it was fun. Good times.
Yeah, that was one I was very interested to know about, just because it was such an interesting concept,
Mhm.
but also shows the Dragonsteel company ethic, where how they view the fans as almost as shareholders, like you would normally if you bought a share. But it makes sense because if you bought, like, say if you bought into the Kickstarter, in some ways, yeah, you bought a big share in the company. I mean, because they had to expand the company a lot. And so it's just really nice to see a company that feels like it has an obligation to its fans.
Yeah. Okay. Vendors. Let's talk about the vendors.
There were some cool vendors.
There were some really cool vendors.
They had the sword fighting again, and they had like knights for
they-
part of it, and then they also
Yeah,
let people do
So
the sword
okay,
fighting.
so this is something I was wondering about. So the knights, they're called the Salt Lake Crusaders that they had,
Mhm.
and they did actual
It sounds like a superhero squad.
well, basically, so they're walking around in full plate armor. It's pretty awesome, and they did.
You
some
could
mock
hear them
fights.
coming.
Right, and I actually got in contact where I'm gonna see if we can get his name's Austin. He's the guy who does the announcing for them, because they actually did some recreations of some fights in the Cosmere. But I was wondering, my cousin's part of them, and I was wondering because I knew he did medieval sword fighting, but I didn't know if he was like like, are there multiple of these things? I don't know. I don't want to. And so I don't want to be the jerk like, hey, do you know my cousin? And so, especially because my cousin sort of knew her. He's like, I told him, he's like, yeah, that's us. And I'm like, okay, I was wondering. And I'm like, so do you have a suit of armor? He's like, I'm working on it. It's tough.
It's a process, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. And just everyone wants like a specific guy, and he's really hard. And it's like, why don't you just learn to become a blacksmith? He's like, it might be faster at this point.
Oh man.
And I was like, I was kind of joking, but ouch. But
Yeah.
so apparently we have an in with them I didn't know about.
Hey.
Very
that's
cool.
nice.
No,
They had they recreated some battles, and they just did some really cool stuff.
yeah.
And again, you could hear them coming because suddenly you just hear this clank, clank, clank. What other vendors were there? There were a bunch of people that we knew. If you're familiar with Dragon Woodshop, Carly from there was there. She had some really cool stuff.
She is really nice too.
She's so sweet.
And they had a thing where you could, or were you going to mention the storage space that she was doing for people?
No.
Yeah, so they had just like a bunch of boxes at the back of they had an extra big booth, and she had it so that you could store your stuff there for a small fee.
I didn't know about that. That's
yeah,
really
so
cool.
I mean, if you're carrying around a bunch of stuff, you could have just rented a box.
Oh, that was really cool
For a while.
That's
and
a
stuff.
good
And she had a very legit thing like, okay, this is so and so's box. They're checking it in at this time. Okay, they checked it out at that time. Just like so she had a system. So it's Dragon Locker, I think is what she called it, or something to that effect. So that was it was a smart service.
That's very smart.
So
I do want to give her a special shout out though, because for those who took part in the Stormlight book 1 leatherbound Kickstarter, they gave out, or one of the add-ons that you could get was the all of the coins for all of the different Radiant Orders. Well, I ordered one of those from her. She was only able to do it up through December of last year. She can't sell any more of them because her license expired. It's legal stuff. But anyway, she sent me one and it got lost in the mail. Like, I can't remember, the shipping service just completely lost it. And she worked with them, tried to figure everything out. It was a whole mess. But she sent me another one. About 2 months later, the first one arrived. And so I talked to her about it, and she said, you know what? Give it to somebody who could use it. So for those of you who are listening who might be interested, that will probably be a giveaway item sometime soon.
Man, we need to talk about that actually, the three of us, because I have stuff to give away too.
I have a few other things. Another thing where I was sent to when I should have been sent one was the expansion to the Mistborn House War game. I have an extra copy, and they also said that I could give that away. So
you just got the hookup, Bill. You just got all the free stuff.
No, shipping mistakes are my friend, apparently.
There you go.
For those of you who are Wheel of Time fans, perhaps I am a shipping tavern, where the pattern weaves around me.
I was going to say it's your talent.
Yeah, actually, that sounds like a symmetry talent. Okay.
Accidentally set duplicates.
But yeah.
No, yeah, getting it.
Bill walked away.
Another one that was really cool. I hate it.
Hang on, before we move on, just so for those who are watching, this is a visual of.
Oh yeah. So you mean you won't have the coins, but you'll have the wood.
Yes, this will not come with the coins, but it is the cover.
So, just clarifying, because there have been times people have thought about things.
No, so there was another one. It was interesting. There obviously a lot of board game stuff was there. And I forgot. She had this really cool setup. She had like coin operated machines, like you get like gumballs out of, but she put dice in there. And what you do is you buy it and you play and get like a set of dice, from D4 up to D20. And if you got something out of the last one, it'd like upgrade your case to something else or something. Just like that's a cool idea. And so it was just an interesting thing. The really cool one that I got a set from Friar's Dice had this really cool setup. First of all, because their sign clearly says Liar's Dice with it's crossed out. It says Friars, and they're all dressed as friars. They have a bunch of these 3D printed like, dice towers. I asked, and I'm like, ooh, that's not in my budget for this, but it looks really cool. But the really cool thing was they had an entire storyline where you could buy a set of dice from them, and they would actually have you then roll a dice in their dice tower. And if you roll the natural 20, they'd upgrade you to the next level of their fancy dice. And
Very nice.
so you could buy their, their cheapo $15 pack, but you might get one of the really fancy ones if you roll well. And then they had these packs of dice that were for different games, and they would actually, like, if you bought their fancy dice holders for it, like they had a Call of Cthulhu set, and it was like an egg, but with a Cthulhu egg on it. They'd clearly 3D printed. It looked really cool, and they would do a mini campaign, and it's the same thing where, like, you would roll, and if you roll well, they upgrade you to the next level up. And I just thought that was a really cool idea of turning the cell itself into a game.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Gamifying it. It'd be great.
Well, and doing it in a way where you don't feel bad, because you're always going to get what you paid for, but you might get something better.
Cool.
So it was really, I really liked their, if I have to get more dice stuff, I mean, I did buy dice from them, but if I have to get more, I think I want to go with them just because I really like their
It's
bits.
cool, yeah.
The
like
Inventor's
eggs.
Guide was also there again. These are the people who, if you did the Year of Sanderson, they are responsible for a lot of the cooler stuff that was in those boxes. And the stuff that came in the fancy little black boxes, most of those were Inventors. I think all of those might have been Inventor's Guide. But they also did the Hoyd's Museum last year. So they were they had the museum again this year, and then they also added. It was cute. It was a fun little VR experience where you meet Mbot and
you go on a little adventure.
It was cheesy, but it was fun.
It was cute.
It's the
yeah,
right
it was fun.
level of cheesy.
Yeah.
And you were on a spinny chair, so you could like follow things as you're going around and stuff, which helps because if you can't follow
Very
things
useful.
with VR, it can make you sick.
Yeah, so like you could spin all the way. Yeah, it was great. So that was a lot of fun, and that was right across from us. So
yeah, so we're like staring at it.
We've been right across from the
Inventors Guide.
Yeah, for the Inventors Guild for 2 years now.
Yeah. One of y'all earlier mentioned the Lightweaver Foundation. So this year, of course, they had this year's Christmas ornament because they've had a different one each year. But they also had really cool, an additional set of ornaments where there were wood cutouts of all of the art from the different secret projects this year.
Yeah.
They were really, really cool. They're definitely worth checking out at the Lightweaver Foundation website if you find it, because it was just, like I said, it was just wooden cutouts. And they just, very, very simple, but very well done.
Yeah. I bought them all, and so I can put up the pictures later on our social media of all the different ones. So, but they're very pretty.
No, I'm trying to think. What was one? There was one more that I really liked.
I did a dice exchange with somebody who made little square dice, but they had little like plastic bear eyes, like the little pop out eyes, and they almost looked like the cubes, gelatinous cubes. And like,
okay.
So I exchanged a D12 for 2 of theirs, and so it was really cute. I don't remember what their name was.
Amy with her constant dice dealing.
Yes, I didn't exchange as many dice this year, but yeah, I did do that one. So I walked by and I was like, oh, I want those. So anyway, dice.
Oh man, good times.
No. There was another dice table where I really liked their dice, and that I saw the price. I'm like, I don't like them quite that much. I'm not doing so well that I can do that.
Like expensive.
You didn't sell enough aluminum foil hats last year.
Yeah, I didn't. It was a shame. We at least made up for costs, and that's the important thing. I had fun. No,
that was fun.
The other thing that was really cool about just the setup with all the booths, they had a game again this year. Last year they had us handing out Mistborn coins to people.
There were 2 games this year.
Yeah, that's right. There were 2.
Although there were 2 games last year as well.
There were? Wait, what was the second? Oh, right.
Last year.
Yeah, we just weren't involved in it, so it didn't count.
Yeah, it was the hats.
Yeah, collecting. So this year we got in on the first game where you would put Delver's eyes on your table and people would scan it, and there was some like quiz that you would do, and you're trying to find like
Yeah.
all
Mhm.
30. We couldn't play it because we were at our booth, so we didn't know the details, but we got there earlier. They're like, do you want to play? And we're like, yes, and then we'll figure out what this does later. And I was really proud of my setup. I got it right next to all our Funko Pops inside a case. Many people missed it and then commented and validated my choices. And that's what I'm.
And we had to keep being like, people are like, do you have one? And I'm like, Hoyt is keeping an eye on one as I'm like jerking
The
my
problem
head.
is
Or
there were so many Hoyds around because Hoyd is now 100% the easiest cosplay in the Cosmere.
Yep.
Because,
Mhm.
and I'm now convinced
Darn Tress.
the whole reason he made him like that in Tress was for easy cosplay. There were so many people with white hair dye, a Hawaiian shirt, and mismatching socks and sandals.
Well, no, I heard there were some Hoyt cosplayers who like really went the extra mile because he has sequin shorts.
Oh,
Yes.
I
And
did
there
see
was
one of those.
who bought
I saw
two
a
pairs of
couple.
sequin shorts because they were a little higher than he was comfortable with, so he had to buy a second pair to lengthen them. Which I'm like, I don't blame you. I don't know that I'd want to wear super short shorts either, but that's what they often are sold as is short shorts. But
I
anyway,
mean,
so
if you-
yeah,
No, and so there were so many Hoyds.
it was Hoyts
Well-
everywhere. I was like, Hoyt, Hoyt, Hoyt. So I was like, the second day when I was Tress, I was like, Hoyt, get over here. I need a picture. I need a picture. So I just like would do that all the
Made
time.
it easy for our scavenger hunt.
Speaking of Jordan, have you compiled all the people who completed
Okay,
the
did
scavenger
we have
hunt?
6 or 7 winners?
I
I think we
it
had
was
7.
7 because I
So,
gave out number 7.
I
think.
can't find the 7th paper, so someone's getting shortchanged. and-
Oh
Sorry,
no!
number 7.
Yeah, sorry, number 7. But the people who won, so I'll read the names as they wrote them. We had
Because we
the-
promised you a shout out as you
Yes,
completed.
we
so,
did.
Here's
So
your
they
shout
won
out.
a trophy, some candy, and a shout out. Here is the shout out.
the shout out: Krampus or Suros, Cade, Nick Robertson, Magdalena and Jonas, and John because his handwriting was really bad on the last name, and I don't know what that thing was.
But good
You
job.
said Magdalena and Jonas. Is that
Mhm.
2 people? Maybe that's.
They were a couple.
But maybe those. You said there were 7, and you
Yeah,
only
but
had
they-
6
but
sheets.
they
no,
wrote
there
it
was
on one
another.
sheet.
There was a
seventh
trophy.
sheet.
Okay.
And so I'll find it in 2 months and give you your shout out.
Okay.
You're
And
getting
if you're
really
listening and you're the person who got left out, please contact us because we do want to give you your due.
But yeah, no. So I was quite proud of the scavenger hunt. If those want to know what we were doing, we had talked to 5 fellow congoers you didn't know before today. Exhibitors don't count. We're gonna try and force some people to be social. Find cosplays from the following locations: Cytoverse, Human, a Doom Slug, which those were going to be gimmies at this year's
There were so
convention.
many Doom Slugs.
They were cute.
Roshar's also a gimme. Scadrial's a gimme. The 2 hardest ones were Cell and Nalthus.
I
but-
was really. Yeah, go ahead.
We found some good ones for Cell. We got Hrathen, and there was a Raoden of all things.
Mhm.
And there was the Emperor too.
Oh, that's
Yes,
right.
there
I
was a-
forgot.
there's a
There was
Gaucho
an
The
Yeah.
Emperor
Emperor.
and the Blood Sealer, and there was a lady too. And I'm
I
trying to
forgot
remember
about the
who-
Blood Sealer. You're
who
right.
that
Yeah.
third character was. I put them up in I made a TikTok. So if you don't mind TikTok, go to my TikTok and you can see some of the cosplays because I put up a little video of
Mm.
some of the cosplays that I took pictures.
Nalthus, most everyone coughed out and saw people with Nightbloods,
Carrying
and
a
they're like,
Nightblood, yeah.
and it's like Nightblood is
Well,
a
'cause-
character, but there
and-
was one
And Forged
blush,
Foam was even selling a Nightblood. so-
yeah, but there was one Blush Weaver of all things.
There was a
Oh,
Blush Weaver. There was also a.
Yeah, there was something else.
It was either Vivina or Siri. She was the girl in the dress on the American cover of Warbreaker,
Oh, I don't
which
know
it's
that I
never
saw
really
that.
clear which she is, but it was absolutely that dress.
Oh man, I missed
So,
it.
oh, it was cool. I saw it.
You gotta take pictures of these things, Bill. Take pictures.
I don't think I had my phone with me at that point.
For shame.
But then
Shame.
secret projects, which there were a lot of tresses. We were
There were a lot of
sitting next to
Tresses
them.
painters too.
All over the
Yeah, a
place.
lot of paint.
a lot
there
of painters.
There were some really cool paint brushes that people made for Painter.
Mhm. They'd
there
be
were
like
also-
2 or 3 feet long.
There were also a couple of Cinder Kings.
Yes. Yeah, and there was somebody who was Elegy too.
Yeah,
She had like
Oh,
the white
yeah.
streak in her hair and everything. She looked really good.
and then,
And then there
Oh,
were
that I
there
got.
were Mervyn plushies galore. So
then Hoyd and
Oh, and
Brandon.
there was the guy who was the Cogs whatever is.
the what?
I took a picture with him. There was the guy who's the The one who has the cool armor and like
Oh, the guy
big
it's named
hat.
after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir.
Oh,
Who
right, the
wrote
one that's Jordan. Cecil G.
Steve
Bagsworth
That's what
Bagsworth
it
the
is.
third. Yeah,
I'm
so I
like,
took
I'm gonna
a
go
picture
look
with
it up
him.
if we don't have it. We have the
So
book.
yeah,
right
so there was
there.
someone dressed up as that, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, you're the guy!" So it was really cool.
Played a game in the Threnody room. My favorite being a Krampus who wrote down rock, paper, scissors.
They were closing down, and he was.
Yep.
It was at the
Like,
end
I
of the
gotta do
day.
it.
So
And I just like nailed it. Attend 3 different panels. We had them visit Allison Johnston's illustration booth, the Cosmere Knot, which is right next to us, and our booth. And yeah, that's what we did for our own personal scavenger hunt.
So we had
It was a lot of fun.
it was definitely fun. Amy, if you want to post an image of that picture on our social media, I think that'd be
Which one?
something. Just the sheet that Jordan had them fill out.
Oh yeah, if you can take a picture of it, Jordan, then I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's something we could put up.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was really cool to see, like, some people really got into it. So like our first winner, Krampus, he was very excited to come in first. So. Yeah. All right. I think now is probably a good time to take a break.
Okay.
But we'll be back in a little bit. And I don't know that we're actually going to get everything in tonight because there's so much to go on.
We can just see we get in.
Would y'all be up for doing another episode if we've got more to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of would. Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you on the other side of the break. And we're back. Now let's talk about that line. I have anger.
What line?
Not anger. Not anger, but okay. So the past couple of years, the Dragonsteel store has been a much, much smaller booth, just out on the regular
floor, yeah.
Exhibitor floor. This year, they put it off in a much bigger space. Unfortunately,
much more stylish space.
Yeah, it looked great. It looked amazing. And there was so much new, really, really cool merch.
Yeah, I'm glad I decided not to wear mine because then either Amy or I would have to change.
I spent far, far too much money at the store this year. And that was after putting a bunch of things back. Including the Mervyn plushie, which was utterly adorable, but I realized I have no need of a Mervyn plushie.
I have a Mervyn plushie. He's in my craft room.
I was going to get the Mervyn plushie because I was like, oh, he can be friends with my Doomslug plushie. But then I realized I got the swag bundle, and so I have a Hesho plushie, and I was like, they can be friends. I don't need a Mervyn
And also,
plushie
they're
either.
inanimate objects and can't actually have friends.
Shh!
Don't shatter my illusion, Jordan.
I am a physicist. This is literally my job.
I have a tenuous hold on reality at best. Don't rock this boat. Oh gosh, no, but okay. So it was seriously, there was so much cool stuff in the shop this year.
Mm-hmm.
There were a bunch of new pins. They had a bunch of shirts. I was very frustrated about one thing with the shirts. The con shirt this year. I love getting the con shirt. And for some reason, there were no XLs.
I know why.
Well, it's because they hadn't arrived yet.
They didn't get shipped, yeah, the XL. So I was going to get one for my husband because that's the size he is too, and they weren't there, so I couldn't get him one.
But I haven't seen them on the Dragonsteel web store either.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, have they still not arrived? Have they not been put up, or did they already sell out?
Well, apparently you should be able to buy it later because they were still selling Dragonsteel 2021 shirts there.
I think they just still had them.
Yeah. I just feel like you can't sell them. That's stolen valor. If you didn't show up there, you can't get that.
I agree. But I'm like, I did show up there. They just didn't have my size. Yes, I did just announce to the entire internet that I wear an XL. Deal with it. It's not a shock. But yeah, it's just sort of a why what.
But that wasn't the real issue.
That wasn't the real issue. There were again awesome merch things. The ramen bowl, the cup, the shirt that Amy's got. There were a half dozen different colors of Doomslug now.
They had a Tanix adoption center, like they had all the slugs
was
in a
adorable.
corner. It was so cute.
The one that made me sad is they didn't have, and I understand why, but they didn't have the ultra long one. The one that's is like a scarf.
I'd forgotten there was that kind. Yeah.
That
saw
was my
people
favorite one.
People made that one
Uh-huh.
and had that with them.
And
So
again, I completely understand why they didn't, because everything
Mhm.
else was a
it's the
uniform
same
size,
size.
shape,
Yeah.
everything. But that one's my favorite, and I was very, very sad not to see it. I can't remember its name.
I
Clearly,
am so
I'm
bad at remembering all the different names.
enamored with this thing.
Yes.
But yeah. But the issue was how long it took to get through the line. It took
How long did it take?
Okay, when I went in during the VIP section the first day, it took me about 45 to 50 minutes to get into the store. That was the short end of it. I feel like I was one of the fortunate ones. Jordan, you cheated. That's different.
Oh, we'll tell that story. Don't you worry.
Yes. But then, once you got into the store, you could wander around and shop as you need. But then afterwards, there is another line to check out. And they had, what was it? Were there 4 or 6?
I saw 3 when I was there.
I think there were 4.
I think there were 4 checkouts.
Which is double last year.
Which is double last year. But it took about another hour to get through the exit line. And it was insane. Now, I have lower back issues. And so my back was screaming at me by the time I got through. Now, it's weird because I actually feel like my back is doing a lot better since going through that line. But wow, it was not a pleasant experience.
And it's cement floor in that area too.
Yeah, they really need, I would honestly say they need like 20 checkout lines.
What is this? A line for ants? It needs to be at least 3 times this big.
No, like I would say they need probably at least 18 to 20 checkout lines next time.
Yeah, they need a lot. So I cheated. Mostly because Bill went to go get his stuff and Amy went to go to her panel, and it's like, okay, I'll be alone here for a little bit. And then a little bit came a long bit, and I hear everyone like going by. It's, oh, the line's crazy. And I know where Bill is, and I'm like, I don't think I've seen Bill for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
well, and like I was sitting there feeling guilty for not being at the panel, but I was like, this line's not going to get any shorter.
No.
Now is the time to do it.
So the next day, I'm like, okay, I have to go right at the start the next day because we can't afford to have people not manning the booth.
Right.
And so at the start of the day, I see the volunteer with the line, but I see people going in, and I'm like, oh, those are volunteers that are going in. And I'm like, hey, are the exhibitors allowed to go in? And the volunteer was like, I don't know. And he like can't move because he's got to hold the sign that says line starts here. It's like, why don't you go in there and ask? And I'm like, yes, I will do exactly that. And by go in and ask, I mean, go in and start shopping. And because when you get the answer you're looking for, you don't find someone to deconfirm. You go in. I said hi to Steve, who happened to be volunteering at the time, and just acted like I was supposed to be there.
Hi, Steve. I belong here.
Then bought my shirt, went to change into it because I'm gonna wear it. Come on. And I then try and put it on. Someone had mislabeled and put a medium in with the double XLs. And I'm just like, which for that 10 seconds it was on me, it looked hilarious. I'm just like, nope. And now I have to I have to work my way back in to get a different shirt. And so once again, I went with the plan of act like you're supposed to be there, just walked past everyone and went like, hey, this was mislabeled. And there's like, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so. I find so-and-so. And so-and-so has bag under his eyes. And when I explained the situation, he looked like he just wanted to die. And he just is like, just go exchange it. Like
those store volunteers saw some things.
And he's just like, just go exchange it and bring the old one here. I'll worry about it later. And I'm just like, okay, good. They're tired. They won't ask questions of who am I and why do I have an exhibitor's badge? And I see Amy in the line. She's like, Jordan. And I'm like,
So when Jordan, when I was in the line to get into the store still, like they had like an outside of the room and then an inside of the room, and I was in the outside of the room and I'm waiting, and it's probably waiting for like maybe 10 minutes, not too bad. I'm trying to eat my breakfast from the like a little granola yogurt thing, whatever, which is hard to eat as I'm like scooting along. And then I called Jordan because I'm like, I don't know he's in the store. And I'm like, hey, do you want me to grab stuff for you? And he's like, oh, I'm already actually in the store. And I was like, oh. And he's like, do you want me to grab anything? And I'm like, I want to look. So
Mhm.
I'll be okay. So then I finally like get to the inside part of the line. And I can see Steve walking around, and like me and another Cosmere talker are kind of like, we've got to go. I don't want to be in this line super long. And what's the deal? So like I managed to make eye contact with Steve and get him to come over. And I'm like, are exhibitors and volunteers, because she was a volunteer, allowed to go in and shop? And he's like, let me ask. And he goes and asks somebody, and he like comes back into view, and he's like waves us in, and we're like, okay. So we go in and shop. And so I
I think the real issue
don't know,
is
but
exhibitors were supposed to be able to go. 'Cause it's the same problem as volunteers. You don't
Yeah.
you don't have time. You're manning a
Yeah.
booth. And I just think it didn't get quite communicated as well as it was
Mhm.
last year. Last year it's right on the floor. It's easy to figure
Mhm.
stuff
So you
out.
just go there, yeah.
I think everything being segmented off created a lot of communications issues.
Yeah.
And
We
look,
were fortunate in that we had 3 people to man our booth.
So we could do that, yeah.
But oh gosh, it was a mess.
Yeah.
Now that said, again, lots of great merch, very great, which is why there was a problem. And they have a new
Yes.
booth, which apparently will travel with them to different conventions.
It's super pretty.
Their Dragonsteel store booth, it's gorgeous. It looks like a little library
A
inside,
little mini library thing, yeah.
and so I'm excited for that to go around. It's just it was an ordeal to actually get into the store and do any shopping. And once you go through, it's just like I'm never going back in again, because
Because you don't want to do that line again.
that's 2-3 hours of a 2-day convention.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, so
Yeah.
that's definitely something I think that I expect that they are going to be working very, very hard to remedy that next year, because
Yeah.
they definitely were aware of what was going on.
Mhm.
And you know, I mean,
Kara will
like,
be on top of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kara knows how to fix this kind of stuff.
Well, and I think it's one of those things where they said, okay, we're going to have about double the people. We need double
Mhm.
the things, but it's actually a problem that scales exponentially, not linearly.
Well, it also wasn't just double the people. They released 32 new products at the convention this year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a lot of things.
There's a lot of
And so
induced demand.
People wanted to buy things.
Yes.
Oh man. But yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. Okay, so we've talked about some of the costumes, but we haven't really like dove into
Mm-hmm.
some of the costumes. Amy, this is your area. What
Me.
stood out to you?
So let me come on. I gotta scroll again. So there was the cell trio, and I don't know what the third person was, and I feel so bad because they may have been trying to be shy, and they had like the Blood Sealer and and the Emperor.
Okay.
They also had we found a Kenton from White Sand.
There was a Kenton. I didn't
There
see
was
a Kenton.
So this is going to be super grainy because phone, but yeah.
Okay.
Kenton. And I was like, wait a minute, you're from White Sand. And we all like struggled to remember his name because Kenton is a name that slips apparently.
Mhm.
Oh, and that's
Although that was one of the announcements.
yeah, I know. And here's a fuzzy picture of this guy who did the sequin
Mhm.
shorts for Hoyd. And that was Mia's design.
Wait, which announcement, Jordan?
That
White Sand.
Brandon's gonna be working on a prose version of White
Yes.
Sand.
He's been
Yes.
dropping hints about that for a while, but
He
Mhm.
confirmed it.
but yeah, that's awesome.
But there were several versions of a couple different ladies did Vale and Shalon, half and half, and like
Okay.
they would split
When I
themselves,
saw
and
the
it was really
first
cool.
half and half Vale and Shalon, I was like, that is one of the most creative things ever.
Mhm.
When I saw a second person, it was absolutely if I had a nickel for every time I saw half Shalon and Vale. Well, I'd only have 2 nickels, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Nice, yeah. Oh, and there was a Preservation and Ruin. And so Preservation has like half of their costume is like gray face
Mhm.
paint, like skeleton and like ripped up clothes. And then they had Ruin is like a black dress with red. So that was pretty. There was Relaine and Venley. We had a
Okay, I
couple
did see
different-
them.
Yeah. Lots more
The-
Hoyts.
the
There was
gi-
another design.
The giant doom slug made a return.
Yes, and they actually had a boom slug as well as the purple
Mhm.
and orange one. So I took a picture
I
with
didn't
them.
see the purple and orange one.
I didn't
Yeah.
either.
There was a Relaine or
Mhm.
Albrion, the
There
pink.
was an Ulrion, that pink
There
thing.
was also a Barbie who we thought was Albrion.
Yes, yes, there
but so I
was.
got pictures of both
She
of them.
was
'cause I
wearing
didn't-
blonde hair with a giant sort of
dress.
like princess style dress. It's like it's got to
But
be
she also,
Alrian.
I think,
But she was straight up Barbie.
But she had a Barbie with her. Is the other
Uh-huh.
thing that I think that threw it, that changed it. And there was also
Alrian would have
there
played
was-
with Barbies.
Yeah, she probably would have. And there was another awesome Relaine. There were several Captain Crows that were all
There-
really good.
There were a few Captain Crows. There were a lot of tresses this year.
There were so many tresses, and there were
So many
lot of
tresses
them
and
were-
dresses.
tresses and dresses like me the second day, as well as there were ones in like the piratey outfit. And I was like, man, I want pants. The pants look nice. To not have to wear a dress 2 days in a row.
Texas Blade brings up, and there was a group of sentient bananas walking around from Wizard, from Frugal Wizard. They were just wearing banana costumes.
I did not get it, and then
I
then
think
you-
I
I
did.
did.
One.
and then
I saw
I
one banana
completely
and
forgot
didn't
about
think-
the sentient bananas thing, and then
Oh yeah,
Bill's like, "It's the sentient bananas." I'm like, I forgot that part of the book.
that is awesome. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Anyway, but like, there was another design. I let her borrow my bowl. She was at Katie Payne's booth.
Mhm.
There was somebody who had Syl. I think her name is Kaylee Makes Art or Makes Cosplay. I
Okay.
can't remember her name. And she had an LED Mylar, and I think sword, and so like it
Okay.
would light up. She had a panel too about how to do that.
So I saw there was a guy, full bushy beard, who was painted entirely blue and was wearing
Yes.
a tutu and no shirt. He was like full Smurf blue, like total commitment. And he was walking around handing out these little leaves to people. So I got a leaf from Syl, and I'm just like, if I remember, Syl carried leaves. You do not want
You
those
want to eat.
leaves.
Yeah, you don't want to eat those. There was also a Syl who was also had blue wig and blue outfit, and he was, I think it was a he, and he was handing out gloves to all the women who did not have their hands
On their left hand.
Yes, and so like he was at my panel.
Oh, that's funny.
My bestiary one, and I didn't click into it right away, and I was like, "Well, I'm not from." He's like, "Well, it's just not. We just need to make sure that you're." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't end up wearing it, but I have the glove still, and it was just
So
funny.
I talked about, there were the Dougs everywhere because everyone had
Yes.
those stickers that said "I am Doug." Well, I forgot to mention at my panel there was someone who cosplayed as Doug Funny from the Nickelodeon cartoon Doug,
Oh,
and he had
Which
the
is
"I am
amazing.
Doug," and I'm just like, layers. There's so many layers.
man, you just got the costumeception there. Oh man. Anyway, so like those were the big costumes that I remember seeing, but there were so many
good
other cool ones that
Yeah, there were some great ones.
Oh, there was also there was a Mistborn, but she was an 80s Mistborn, so she had like a jean jacket, and she had like the strips that were made out of jean, and I was like,
I
it took me
think
a
she
second,
was.
but I was like, oh, that's right.
I think she was there last year
She may have been,
because
but
I
did-
remember there was an '80s Mistborn last year.
Well, the 80s Mistborn that I remember seeing was like psychedelic, like neon colors.
Yeah, and this one
So
was
that
more punk rock.
Punk rock. She's like, yeah, I want to do the punk. Yeah, that's what she said, is that she saw that one and was like, I want to do the punk rock or the ska version or whatever of a Mistborn.
The other fun one I saw was somebody was dressed as a spy from Team Fortress 2, but they had a Doomslug mask over their face.
Which
Oh,
I
nice.
love Team Fortress 2. And so when I saw them when I was alone at the booth and Bill was having an existential crisis in line, and I just like I was in a conversation with someone else and I saw it, but I just like almost out of instinct in TF2 because you have to call these things out. I'm like, spy. And he like turns and looks. I'm like, get over here. Like I'm just like, I have to talk to this man.
I got a picture of him because they came by when you weren't at the booth either, and I was just like, I got to get a picture of this for Jordan.
Nice.
So.
I couldn't believe there was a freaking spy. It's like, of all the costumes, why?
And that's what I love about this community. They're willing to just tweak it a little bit to make it interesting.
So other random thing, this isn't quite cosplay, but like as the floor was closing down, I got to meet Steve Argyle, and he wore my wizard hat.
Yes, he did.
And I was wearing my Miss Cloacus tress because I was freezing, and that was the only coat I had. So
I didn't know
The
that
other thing,
part.
so I had not been introduced, and I may have missed this last year, the next level cosplay where people get into the role. Because we also had the people
Rock.
who were giving out pamphlets for voting for Marcy Combs.
Yes. They
Yes.
were awesome. I loved them. And Brandon had their pin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Trying to
During the
remember what the
closing
other
thing, I
one
was
was.
we
that
we
was
had
like
a we
that.
had a Wayne come around and offer to trade.
Yeah,
with
which we
us.
had a
Yes, he
lot
was
of
there
those
last year,
last
too.
year.
Mhm.
Next
This
year,
was his
I want to
second
get
time.
some stuff for real trades.
Oh, just
Yeah.
remind me, and I'll have Jawa junk that you could trade. I have
I have
some.
junk of my own I need to unload.
Yeah, everything we had wasn't really anything we could trade. We had some candy, I think, is what we
Yeah, we
swapped.
traded him candy. Yeah.
So, it was so fun.
It's fun.
Like I love this community so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only going to be bigger next year.
There's like 3 days.
Okay, we're at a decision point right now
Mm-hmm.
because we haven't talked about the closing ceremonies and Brandon's speech and all of the announcements that came with that.
Mm-hmm.
But we have been talking for a while. Dare we go in and just have this be an extra long episode, or should we push this to next week or
I'm
two
game to
weeks?
continue if you guys are.
I think a second episode about this would be just fine because talking about Dragonsteel and then going over the Kolos head munching day. I think
yeah,
I think that would be a
That
good
would be
way
our
to
next
end the
one.
year of Sanderson for
I think
our
so, too.
podcast.
Yeah, we could do State of Sanderson on the 1st. Right.
Because I think we can do a full episode just on what Brandon talked about it
Mhm.
during the closing ceremonies, because
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was so much.
And that gives people, if they haven't watched it, to watch it. That gives them time to
Yes.
do that.
Yes. And definitely check it out. It's about a 10 and a half minute video that's basically Brandon explaining all sorts of stuff that's coming up.
And Emily.
Yes, Brandon and Emily.
And for the record, Emily
Also-
came out wearing a crown because she is queen.
Yes. Well, that is her official
Yes,
title.
That's
She
her
is
official
queen.
title.
Well, and Brandon needed something sparkly, so he wore the shoes from his Bowser Halloween costume, which he lied about because he said they were not going to be for sale. And at the end, he's like, you know what? Put these up for auction, and everything will go to, I think it was Children's
Lightweaver.
Miracle Network or Children's Hospital.
Yeah,
something
they
to
sent
that
it to the Lightweaver booth. and
Yeah.
They handled it.
And so they auctioned it. I don't know how much they ended up going for, but
I don't have any idea.
I mean, these are Brandon's Bowser shoes. I mean,
they're a big deal.
Yeah.
There's one of a kind.
Two.
Mhm.
The pair of shoes.
Right.
They're set.
But yeah. So, but just sort of a brief thing. We got a reading from Stormlight 5.
Mm-hmm.
The text for that, I believe, is on the Coppermind at this
It
point.
is.
wob.coppermind.net. And then we got all sorts of announcements about the Mistborn, or not the Mistborn, the Words of Radiance, Leatherbound, and the castle. And we'll just leave you with that tease. Watch the video. Trust me, you want to see this. This is cool. So, yeah. Well, with that, let's move on. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a wrap for this episode. So, we have made it through our backlog of listener questions. So, if you do have a question for us, we'd love hearing from you. Keep on sending in questions. You can ask us about the Cosmere. You could drop us ideas for topics you would like us to discuss during the show. And while you're at it, we would love to hear your feedback about how you think we're doing, as well as any interesting theories you might have about what's going on in the Cosmere. You can send all questions and suggestions in a brief, concise email to cosmerestudies@gmail.com, and hopefully we could read that and discuss that as part of the show.
Just going to hint, maybe about Dragonsteel for next week. Just to
Indeed. Specific questions about how the con went, we'd love to elaborate on those. The Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. You can also reach us at the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, P.O. Box 970063, Orem, Utah 84097. We've got our own personal projects that we're also working on. So, Jordan, why don't you let us know what you are up to?
I am really excited because I have a brand new thing I'm doing. It's actually kind of a throwback for me. I got my start and how I met Bill actually was through hosting Smash Brothers tournaments and through something we called the Y Smash League. It was local, it was great, and it was because everyone was there watching each other play. There's the peanut gallery going on, and I've decided I want to try and recapture that. I am launching something called the Shift, because the mode we're playing is shifting alliances, where it's 4 people get together, they play 3 games, and everyone it's teams, but you rotate who your teammate is every single game.
Those were fun.
It's a ton of fun. If you like Smash Brothers at all, please come visit me over on twitch.tv or kick.tv/splice stream, where you can find out how to join us. This isn't my normal amiibo stuff. This is going to be human on human. It's going to be a ton of fun. I am theming it around like a 90s era hit station. It is 102.4 SHFT. The Shift is the idea. It is corny as all get out because I have to overcomplicate things, but I am really proud of this. So if you like Smash, come join us. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be on Friday.
And Amy, how about you?
So my Facebook is Coincidence Cosplay and Props. My Twitter is at Coincidence Cosplay because my name is too long. My Instagram is at Coincidence_Cosplay. My TikTok is at Coincidence Cosplay, and my website is www.coincidencecosplay.com. So I'm not doing too many huge projects right now. I'm because I'm trying to catch up on stuff that's
You just got done with all your huge projects.
all my huge projects. But I'm going to have Josh help me get listings on my website so I can sell my dice. I'm also probably going to advertise them on TikTok because I have a bunch of stock that didn't end up selling, and I would like to sell my dice. So this is your chance. If you want to buy my dice, let me know, and I will do that. And so projects wise, I just finished some mouse droids. I'm probably going to do some fun stuff with that. So I have 2 little mouse droids that are going to do funny things. I don't know. From yeah. And then I'm gonna
wait. Those are actually called mouse droids.
They're called mouse droids.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's MSE is the letters form. But then I'm also gonna start on my biker scout or troop. The ones who ride the little speeders. And yeah, I should know what their official designation is by now, but I don't.
I think they're speeder troopers or bike troopers.
It might be that. Like no one in the cosplay community has gotten after me for calling me a biker scout. Anyway, but I'm going to be starting on that. I
Scout
hope
troopers.
that doesn't take too long. Anyway, but that's my next big thing is that. And I'm going to try to actually post a bunch of the stuff that I have not posted, but I've done and documented, just never posted. So it's going to be kind of random whatever on my socials. So yeah.
Cool. I have another podcast with my friend Dylan. We talk about board games. It's called The Innkeeper's Table. Those of you who were listening in the middle of the break heard me accidentally turn on the intro for that.
That's why you should definitely come live. That's how you get all the bloopers.
Exactly. We post new episodes every other Friday. Our most recent episode, we did a game spotlight actually on a series of games. They're called Unlock. It's basically an escape room in a box where it's all using cards and an app. Really fun series. So you should definitely check out the episode to find out more about that. Lots of fun. For those of you who want to support the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, but you can't become a patron just yet, we'd still love it if you just tell your friends about the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to like and subscribe over on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. All of these things are free for you to do. And if you want to toss us a good review wherever you listen to us, we would love it. You can also head over to store.streamelements.com/Cosmere Studies to buy our branded merch. All right, guys, final thoughts on this portion of Dragonsteel, not talking about Brandon's closing remarks.
Squeak! That was my opinion.
I want to thank everyone who stopped by the booth to meet us. It was so good to meet you all. And we look forward to hopefully seeing even more of you next year.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to reiterate that Brandon's community is such a cool group of people. Very creative, very friendly, very warm and welcoming. Y'all are amazing. Again, for those of you who did stop by, who were there and were able to stop by the booth and say hi, we loved meeting you. It's the best part of our day. We love seeing all the Brandon stuff around, but meeting y'all is just amazing. At least for me. I can't speak for Jordan.
Oh
and Amy,
yeah.
but
I mean, every time
but-
someone said that, they're like, "Oh, I listened to you." I was like, "Oh, really? That's so cool."
Yeah,
it's
it's-
not just in
it's-
my head; it's real, and you're so nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it helps to not have an abstract number on a website, instead be a real thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, in addition to the live episodes of the show that stream on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies every 2 weeks on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, listeners can find our videos on YouTube or audio versions of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just about any other service that carries podcasts by searching for Cosmere Studies. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under the profile at Cosmere Studies. For our next episode in 2 weeks, we are going to be continuing our discussion about Dragonsteel 2023 because seriously, so much happened.
Yes.
We're gonna probably spend a bit more time on Brandon's closing remarks, all of the announcements that he and Emily made. Just, oh my gosh, it was amazing. Plus, there was a Stormlight 5 reading that we might get into a little bit as well. Who knows? That
Could be an episode in and of
It
itself.
It really could be an episode of its own. So we might touch on it, but we're going to be focusing on so many different things. Because this year was nuts, and next year is going to be even crazier. I promise you that. So make sure to join us for the discussion when we stream live in 2 weeks on Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. Until then, on behalf of Amy, Jordan, and myself, thanks for listening, and remember,
There's
always
always
another
another
secret.
secret.